Central Processing Unit by Jonathan Stiffman. CPU companies. The companies that develop CPUs are Intel and AMD. There are many more, but AMD and Intel are the most popular choice for most people. What is the CPU? The purpose of having a CPU is to process information. The CPU is a hardware that does all the processing. For example, it does a calculation, sorting, and searching. Or tasks from a computer, for example, making a PowerPoint document. The CPU will process instructions we do on the PowerPoint. The CPU is made of three components: the control unit, the intermediate access store, and the arithmetic and logic unit. Computers only understand ones and zeros, so that means the processor will process information in binary code, which is ones and zeros. The control unit will control the flow of data in your system. The control unit will control and communicate between the hardware attached to a computer. It controls the input and output of data, check that the signals have been sent successfully, and make sure that the data goes to the right place. Intermediate access store job is to hold all the data and the programs that is currently being used. When I open the calculator software, then the data of the program will be stored there as it's currently being used. The arithmetic and logic unit is used to perform maths and logic operations. Every task you do on a computer carries out is completed here. The ALU operations fall into two parts: maths and logic operations. CPU speed. What makes the processor faster? What makes the processor faster is the clock speed and cores and cache, and they are part of a processor. For clock speed, your processor can only run one instruction at a time, which allows you to run more than one task. Is the clock speed. This is controlled by a clock. With every tick, the CPU fetches in one instruction. The speed is measured in cycles per second, and 1 cycle per second is 1 Hz. This means that a CPU with a clock speed of 2 GHz can carry out 2,000 instructions per second. The higher the clock speed, the faster instructions will be processed. Cores. The CPU cores is like having more than one processor. So if a PC has 4 cores, then it can run 4 instructions at the same time. Most of today's technology has from 2 to 7 cores, whereas servers could range even higher. The cache. The cache is a small block of memory that is in a processor. It will save all the common instructions and allow them to run faster. The bigger the cache, the more common instructions can be saved there and will run faster. Transistors. Transistors in a CPU are tiny electronic components that act as switches, controlling the flow of electricity. In a circuit, the transistors are used as building blocks, creating logic gates and memory cells, which are what really makes the processor work. The CPU transistors work by controlling the flow of electricity. Transistors can perform Boolean logic and store binary data in memory. How many transistors are there in a CPU? It could range from millions to billions of transistors. The fetch-execute cycle. The fetch-execute cycle is the steps that the processor takes in order to process your instructions and allow you to do whatever you want to do on your computer. The steps. The CPU will need to get the instructions one at a time from main memory into the registers. The CPU decodes it for instructions. The CPU executes the instructions. Registers are the components that stores the data and instructions for faster processing. Overclocking. Overclocking is going to make your CPU a lot more powerful than it did when it came from the shop. Advantages and disadvantages of overclocking is that you're going to have a faster CPU without having to buy a new one, and the disadvantages are going to lose warranty, and if you don't have a good heatsink, it could cause overheating problems. What predictions do we have on the future of the CPUs? Every 2 years, the transistors on a CPU will double. CPUs will have more cores, higher clock speed, cheaper as it gets more powerful. So higher clock speed would mean basically that one instruction can be processed a lot faster, and CPUs have more than one cores. Basically means that it can run more than one instructions at the same time. Any questions? Thanks for reading and listening to my PowerPoint. Here's some references. Thanks, and I'll see you guys later.